everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria and I am the artist behind Mary's Hobby. It's a new week and I have a new project for you, and for this time I painted a small table which can be used as a small vanity or as a small console table or coffee table. I mean, it's small, it's versatile, it can be used in so many ways. And actually this was meant to be a quick and easy makeover, but it turned out in a big catastrophe and I was just about to quit, but I didn't. I finished it and I'm very glad because it turned out very beautiful. So enough with chit chatting, let's get started with the work. This piece was already painted and I decided to remove the existing finish with some stripper and then sanding this down. But before I start with the work, I will remove the hardware, I will clean it, and once I will be done with the painting, I will put it back. I put a fair amount of stripper on my piece. You don't have to put thin coats, and always remember safety first, wear gloves and work in a very good ventilated area, and if you have a respirator, so please use it. After about 15 minutes I started to remove the paint. It was pretty easy on this large area, but in very small areas and on the legs it was a real mess and it was very hard. I worked a lot of hours to remove the paint. Because outside was very cold, I moved my piece inside and I continued to remove the paint with some 80 grit sandpaper, as you can see here. Yeah, it was a lot of work and elbow grease. My next step was to clean my piece with some denatured alcohol just to stop the action of the stripper. I'm using some steel wool. As you can see, this also allowed me to remove even more of that finish. Because I still had a lot of the pre-existing finish, I grabbed my sander and I started to sand with some 120 grit sandpaper, and then I moved to some 240. But I was able to sand with the sander only on the large surfaces. On the narrow places I sand this by hand. After about, I think, 5 hours of work, I'm finally done with the stripping and with the sanding. Now I have to clean all this mess and to wash the table, and then I will be ready to apply the primer. Since I sanded to the original finish in some places, as you can see here on these legs, it's wood. This actually surprised me because I thought this piece is just MDF or particle board, but anyhow, I will apply one coat of clear primer, just because I'm not really sure with the bleed through, because this wood is not like that kind. But I don't have to don't want to have any issues with the paint absorptions. I mean, the paint will absorb more in these areas, so I just want to avoid this. Even though it's something that you can fix with paint. I mean, even if the first coat will be like uneven, the second coat will be more even. But I thought, you know what, let's just apply one coat of primer. And I know that some white primer would make more sense, but the truth is that I don't know where is my white primer, so I can't find it. I know I have one can, but no idea where it is, because I have a mess here. I have to find it anyway, but now some clear primer will do the same work. Now the primer is it's dry, it's nice and dry. I will lightly sand the surface before I start applying my paint, because I want to minimize any brush strokes, any bumps, or any residual that may be on my surface, so that I can get a nice and smooth finish. Okay, so the color I want to use for this piece is called Petal by Wise Owl, and this is a very light and delicate pink. I have here an old container of paint. As you can see, I have some dirt there, so I want to run this paint through this cheesecloth and just to clean it, because I don't want this dirt to pop up in my paint. Okay, so I'm starting with this synthetic brush by Zebra, and as usually I will moisture my my brush a little bit. And okay, let's start painting. My idea for this piece is a smooth finish, but let's see. My plans can change anytime. So remember, if you want smooth finish, apply your paint in thin coats and work in long strokes in one direction. And if you feel like your paint is not workable, let's say it like this, you are free to moisture your brush or your surface however you prefer. Okay, so this is my first coat. Here you can see how the coverage is looking pretty good, but always remember, you don't have to have full coverage with the first coat, and it's something impossible to achieve. And it doesn't matter what kind of paint you use, what brand, you will need at least 2 coats for full coverage. So let's put the second coat on. Okay, so before applying the second coat, I will lightly sand the first coat. Just remember, I want to reduce any brush strokes, any bumps or stuff like this. Be gentle and be careful, because you don't want to remove your paint. If you see this like cracks where the joints are, I need to fill this with some caulk, because it's not looking good. So I told you guys so many times, paint will not cover something like this. This dries pretty quick and it's paintable. So once I will paint over it, you will never say that there was a crack. And it's pretty easier, I think, to use rather than the wood filler, because with wood filler the dry time is longer, and then you have to sand this, and you have also a big chance for this to crack. So once you are done, take a wet towel and just remove the extra, because once it will dry, it will be very hard to remove. So make yourself a favor and just remove this before it dries. Okay, so I will let this dry for about 1 hour, and then I will be ready to put my paint on. Okay, so I decided to add a little bit of interest to this cute table, and I decided to do some stencil with some cream color, and the stencil is called Diamond Flourish. It's by Redesign Prima. It's one of the large stencils. So I have to confess that this is my first time doing a stencil with paint. I've done raised stencil, I've done a stencil with gilding wax, but never a stencil with paint. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I will try to put in place my stencil. I already align it just to make sure that it's centered, and now I will put it in place with some painter's tape because I don't want it to move. So I will not put tape here because I have this part, and if I will try to kind of roll it underneath, it will lift my stencil. So I want my stencil to stay in place. Okay, so I saw some tutorials on YouTube with artists using a roller for stencil, and they say that the secret is to have as less paint as possible on your roller. So you have to dip it in paint and just unload as much as you can, and also make sure that the paint is equally spread on the roller, which is not in my case. Okay, so let's make sure that we I think like a foam roller would be a best option for this, but unfortunately I don't have one, and I don't have time to go and buy one. So now it's the moment of the truth. Let's try. Okay, first mistake. I think my God, I can't believe my stencil is upside down. I can't believe, guys. This is a beginner mistake, but I want to show you this just to make you understand that we are all making mistakes, and it's not something unusual. I will clean this one because I don't want to mess up my paint underneath. We will learn one day, one time. So mistakes are part of our life. I'm a little bit filled up, as you can see. Okay, so now I have to align it. Okay, make sure. Second try. The secret with the stencil is the amount of paint. you don't want to put too much paint because you don't want your paint to bleed underneath your stencil, because it will transform it to a mess, to a whole mess. So it's pretty easy to apply the roller, I have to confess. Kind of like it. And now it's moment of the truth. Yep, I like it. I like it. Is that I really wanted this like shaded look. So yeah, now I will clean the stencil because this paint is drying very fast and I don't want it to ruin my stencil. To moving next, I just figured out the design of my stencil, and so this part needs to match another half of this flower. I mean, hope this makes sense for you. So you need to be sure that your stencil will have a continuous design. Okay, so now our stencil is nice and dry, and I am taking some 240 grit paper, sorry for this, and I will sand this very lightly so that I have a smooth surface. Now I will clean all the dust, and one tip with the very light colors: before you start applying the paint, make sure that your surface is nice and clean and you don't have any dirt, because this will pop up through your top coat. And it doesn't matter if you use wax or a liquid top coat, so just make sure that it's nice and clean and you don't have any dust or any hair or stuff like this. So I will apply my top coat, which is the clear wax by Lignocolor. If you watch my videos, you probably already know that this is my favorite. It's very easy to apply. Just put a liberal amount on your brush and start to apply it. And it doesn't matter which direction. The important thing is just to have your piece covered in wax. I really love wax because wax gives you that matte finish. I love matte finishes. And wax, in my opinion, is the easiest way to protect your piece. And always remember that wax will always make your furniture to look a bit dark, with approximately 1 tone darker. So you don't have to be scared. And as usually, I will apply 3 coats of wax on the top of the piece, because, as I said, this is the most used and abused surface of a piece, and I really want to make sure that my piece is good protected. And on the other part of the piece, I will apply 2 coats of wax. This will be enough for a good protection. So now I will just remove the excess, but remember, be gentle, because you want actually to remove only the excess of wax. You don't want to remove all the wax from the piece. Okay, so now it's time to put our hardware in place and to see how it looks all together. decided to add a little bit of interest to this piece with playing with a little bit with some gilding waxes, and I felt like this Byzantine gold by Porsche worked better with this piece, because it's like a little bit gold, a little bit reddish gold. And I also decided to add a little bit of this rosé gold, just a bit here. So I'm taking just a tiny little bit, not need much. And now I'm taking my favorite tool, aka my finger, and I will apply just a little bit of gold. This time I'm not going crazy with the gold. I want to add just a little bit, very subtle touches of gold. Okay, it's ready. And now I decided to add a little bit of interest to this drawer, and I choose some wallpaper to line it in. I think this will look beautiful. So now I will take the measurements. I will take the measurements and I will cut to the needed sizes, and then I will glue it inside the drawer. This little cute monster is ready. So something that I thought would be an easy project turned out into a big headache, but I'm very glad I did it, and it turned out very cute. So guys, let me know what do you think about this. Leave me a comment below and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Thank you for watching.